The first thing that comes to my mind is sadness. Sadness that another child has been harmed by the gun violence in our streets. But we've awakened so much from where we were, because I think we were sleepwalking for quite some time, thinking that law enforcement was the answer.
Get on the ground, get on the ground.
Now we all realize that law enforcement is a piece of the puzzle. There has to be so much more collaboration to help the community so that we don't have to hear any longer that there's another child that's been shot.
I said, I am tired of looking at TV, watching them in trouble, watching the police arresting them, watching them committing crimes. This has to stop.
'Cause now is the time to get this right. Oh, I think we know what to do. 'Cause we're still young, so let's have fun. I'll make these nights last forever.
Such a special program because it's like an organization that actually looks out for you. It takes us from being boys to young men.
The 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project has given millions of dollars in scholarships as a way to increase higher education access and success for thousands of young men.
And the way this all came about was because of a situation where a Coral Gables police officer used their firearm and killed black youth with a toy gun. That incident involving one of our officers started what is today the 5,000 Role Models. It started between then Chief Butler, Frederica Wilson, who started it. We had to come together. The two very brilliant people that said we need to come to a collaborative effort, both communities, to talk about what makes us different, but what yet makes us the same.
So I said, you have to understand prevention. There's prevention.
Make sure you stay in school, get your education, which is very important. And that's what we push here in the 5,000 Role Models. Education is the key. Get a mentor, you get educated from all the law enforcement officers and other professions that we have within the 5,000 Role Models. So we don't just have law enforcement, but we have professions, judges, firefighters. We have all different types of professions giving these young men the opportunity to see that they have a path in front of them that they can follow.
By them being exposed to certain things, they realize this is not the spot to be in, right? Or we shouldn't be doing this type of thing. So the exposure is very, 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 very vital.
All our community leaders, they become mentors, and that actually helped them take a different road than, just say, I'm gonna just give myself to the streets.
And when I saw this, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. It to me is an extension of what I've learned at home. The training and the background that I have.
Hi, my name is Dr. Marcus Bright. Join us as we explore the nation's premier dropout prevention and mentorship program, the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence. Congresswoman, what motivated you to start the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence in 1993?
Well, Dr. Bright, it was, I was a school principal, and my school population was 1/3 African American, 1/3 Hispanic, and 1/3 Anglo. And for some reason, every morning I would have to get to school early, so when the bus came to bring the children from the North County area, they brought them in for the integration purposes. I would have to be standing at the door to hug these little boys because they were just terrible. So I began to question them and ask them, why? Why don't you listen to your teacher? Why won't you do your homework? And every time I sat down in my office to have a conference with a parent or a teacher, it was because of a black boy. So I knew that this had to stop. And I said, tell me what's going on. So they didn't know. So I began to do home visits, and I found out that most of these boys didn't have not one male in their lives. They did not have a grandpa, an uncle, a daddy, or no one to actually teach them how to behave, or they could mimic or try to be like. So I said, I've got to do something. So I'm from Miami. I have tons of friends. So I called all of my high school friends from Miami Northwestern, all of my sorority sisters' husbands, and my Link sisters' husbands. I called all the black men I knew. I said, I have these little boys in my school. I need help. They need role models. They need you. So they came. And when they came, the boys changed.
And I can tell you, I was sort of like drafted into the 5,000 role models through her father, Thurley Smith. And I've seen it from before the beginning to almost 25 years later. And I can tell you the impact is tremendous. I won't talk about the thousands of children that have received the opportunity through the scholarship, through the Wilson Scholars, to go to prestigious universities.
Well, the program had significant and tremendous impact on my life. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the program. It really put me on a carefully charted path that protected me from a lot of the ills we see in society. Growing up in the inner city, there's a lot of challenges I face. And so the 5,000 Role Models program gave me a lot of hope, gave me a lot of exposure and the opportunity to really not allow my circumstances that I grew up in to define who I am. Because of all the supportive resources, the reinforcements about being a productive citizen and going to school, getting my education, having positive role models around me to emulate, it really played a tremendous impact in who I am today.
I grew up in deplorable conditions here in Miami-Dade County. I grew up what we call now the ghetto, the slums, the trap. Came from a broken family, didn't have a mom or a dad ever. Basically I've always been rich all my life. I've always had a dream. And I just wanted to, growing up as a kid, now as an adult I could reflect, and once I know better, I could do better. So I always said to myself, I'm gonna be polar opposite of what they gave me as childhood. So I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, and most of all, I'm a mentor to this community.
So when we talk about social transformation, it's like wearing this tie. This is about us as young black men helping, or me as an older black man helping younger black men gravitate toward things that are positive.
Why do you think that it's important for 5,000 Role Model students and really all of our students to learn more about business and entrepreneurship?
Well, the reality is when you finish high school, you're gonna have to get a job, or you're gonna start a job. And in a lot of instances, it's not even finished in high school. There are a lot of young men in middle school, high school, and some young men and women in elementary school that are starting their own businesses. So the opportunity to learn and to be mentored by businesses is important. In particular, if you have a particular goal in mind, that you need to seek out someone who is doing that professionally. Either it's a big brother, a big sister, or a cousin, or an uncle, or a grandfather. They've had that experience. And so what we don't do enough in our community is to mentor through that way.
This means a lot for my future. This will propel me so far in life and give me so many opportunities. I can't wait to start the academy, and I can't wait to start the college, because I know I'm always keeping contact with them and help whenever I can.
If you want to get involved with the nation's premier dropout prevention and mentorship program, the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project, give us a call at 305-995-2451, extension 2, or visit www.5000rolemodels.com.
And Coral Gables, who went to this specific school, so they had not. Here we are, 25 years later. It is the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence. It is multi-ethnic, where children are bonded as brothers who look out for each other, where men reach down and pull them up. put them on the right track to greatness, where they're hugged and loved and made to feel that they run this school district. It's just wonderful. This has been quite a journey, Marcus, quite a journey.
What would you attribute the success of the program to?
I always say God. And, you know, there's so many magical things that have happened, so many magical partnerships that have come into my life with these boys that I can't even say anything else because, you know, it's like almost like I would have to be superhuman to have done it. The country needs this, and we've expanded now into other counties of Florida and rolling out in Detroit real soon. It's partnerships like Miami-Dade College, like all of our colleges, Florida International University, University of Miami, all of our hospitals, our public defender, our state attorney, our police, our superintendent of schools, and we've had 5. Our teachers, our parents.
No man or woman stands alone. No man or woman is an island. So it takes a village to really launch any initiative, to take any action that's going to be productive. In terms of our children, the children of our community, particularly entities like our 5,000 role models, it takes everyone. The mentors are so important. Those young boys, some don't have fathers or father figures in their homes. The mentors become very important in their own self-development, in their own motivation, in their own aspirations. Colleges like Miami-Dade College serve as learning ground for these students as well.
And quite frankly, through the provision of a quality education for all of our students, specifically our young men of color. So we make investments into prison when we don't make investments into education. So we have to be, first of all, upfront and true to our core beliefs and our core values, and make those sound investments in terms of resources, both monetary and otherwise, in terms of programs, in terms of partnerships, and in terms of the promises that we've made to reach, teach, and elevate all students, specifically young men of color, who have a likely chance of going to prison than they do going to college. So we know all that we need to know. It's about how do we feel about the fact that we have not done the things that we must do to make sure that all of our students are successful. When we look at a knowledge base, the 5,000 Role Models program is a program that was a manifestation of sound policy. There was a policy commitment. There was a solid investment into this particular program that has yielded a strong ROI over the past 2 decades. So I think from a policy standpoint, first, we have to make that commitment to equity, and we have to be very upfront about the investments we are willing to make on the front end of our young men's education.
Early exposure to the higher education process is a critical dimension of what the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project does. It is well documented that students exposed to the college environment at an early age have a greater chance of not only pursuing college education, but also graduating at accelerated rates.
Thank you so much for being here at Miami-Dade College North Campus in our newly renovated Learning Commons.
Thank you, Dean Perez. Can you talk about your role here at the college?
Absolutely. I have the pleasure of serving as the Dean of Students here at the North Campus. I've been in that role for about 5 years now.
In June, the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence in Miami-Dade College partnered to provide an early college experience for students here in Miami-Dade County. Can you talk about what took place?
Absolutely. So I think what has now become one of our favorite programs for this year, 5,000 Role Models and the college have been partners for a very long time. So this was a very natural fit. And when there was an interest to take a look at what we can do to promote and offer an early college experience for our students, it was a no-brainer. And basically, we offered a 1-week program, intensive immersion experience for our young men to be on campus and really feel like this is their home, because this is, right? We are the community's college, and we wanted them to really not only get a to feel that they belong here, but this is their home. And so it really gave the students an opportunity to immerse themselves into career aspects. They learned about being a firefighter, about being behind the camera and exploring the field of TV and production, and looking at how they can involve themselves in programs in criminal justice and all of the different aspects, the sciences, robotics, journalism, and really giving them not just a little taste, but a real, true, deep immersion into that experience throughout the week.
Arnaldo Gonzalez has been with the 5,000 Role Models for several years. What does it mean to the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project to have such strong partnerships with Miami-Dade College, with FIU, with Barry University?
You know, it makes such a big difference. When we met with all the presidents in a different campus and different colleges in South Florida, one of the reasons why they actually bought into this new vision was that they learn about college later on in their life. When the students get to know about college in grade 3, you are already planting that seed. And wherever they go to Miami-Dade, Florida International University, the ultimate goal with this partner was to make sure our students are college bound, make sure students will go to college, make sure students believe in themselves, make sure the students, you know, have a future.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez, for your service and for your time today.
Thank you, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so what do you think will happen if there's a better bond between law enforcement and black males?
I think it would just be an overall better stigma, a better idea of what police officers do and what they're here to do. I think it would be a great idea because it will like decrease crime rates, because there will be a lot less people, you know, trying to be sneaky, trying to do the wrong thing or being afraid of cops and acting out of, you know, poor judgment. If we get to know them better, then we'll have, you know, a better head on our shoulders to make better decisions.
Now is the time to get this right. Oh, I think we know what to do.
This is a beautiful sight. Yes, it is. How often in the United States right now do you see this many law enforcement together with this many youth?
But I think now, over the last, generation of law enforcement, right, over the last decade, we've made incredible strides in building relationships with our youth, increasing the amount of programs, and not only the Miami-Dade Police Department, but through the Miami-Dade Association of Chiefs of Police. We're all on board. We're all on board. We know that the future of our community is truly impacted by giving opportunity to the kids.
And what the 5,000 Role Models has done, like today when they're sitting side by side, right. It's the first time that some of those boys and some of those officers will ever sit next to each other and have a conversation about themselves. We both have roles, whether that juvenile, regardless of their color, but we'll use boys of color right now, are going along their lives, and for some reason come across that police officer. That police officer's already at a heightened sense of alertness only because they don't know. Right. By what we wear, and I tell my mentees, both at the University of Miami and part of the Role Model attendees, I don't know who you are. Yeah. As soon as you see those lights come on, as soon as you see this uniform, you know it's authority, but you don't know me as a person. So that's where I think we have come so far in bridging that gap. And that started after that. It was to have a conversation as to why that officer in Coral Gables many years ago and that child of color with a toy gun ended so tragically for both. And that conversation has continued to what it is today, the 5,000 Role Models. I mean, I think it's just beautiful.
You heard from Chief Hudak about how an incident happened in Coral Gables. That incident led to this group coming into existence and that problem, if you will, being dealt with or addressed. And it's not just that, it's not just about police and youth only, it's also about just young men becoming men. And that's kind of like what this 5,000 Role Models has become. It's not just about, again, interactions with the police, but it's also about
reductions in violence, reduction in the dropout rate. It's about being responsible men. It's about, chasing your dreams. The scholarship fund, I think, has spent over $3, $4, $5 million on sending some of our youth to college. And those young men go off to college and they come back. And it's so wonderful to see them now contributing and taking positions of leadership throughout this community. So the 5,000 role models really not only close the gap, but they built a bridge, I think, and a foundation for the youth, which I see some young men standing on now, and it just brings me great joy to see it.
And for this, we also have...
So we have been dealing with this issue for many years, and we have a report that we can give you from one of the conferences that we had at the Fontainebleau Hotel, where we actually wrote a report on how to solve this issue. But you can see it's ongoing. It's ongoing. So as long as it continues, you have to have these conversations with boys and with police officers in one room together. No matter how uncomfortable it is, you have to have those conversations.
At Hard Rock Stadium. Don't you love what's happening there? If you sat in those seats...
Ultimately, they got to remember, the kids have to remember this, the youth has to remember this. We were all youth. I was 15, 16, 17 as well. I was in high school. I grew up right here in this community. I'm a product of Miami Southridge Senior High School. So we've all been there. We're all the same, except for a little older. And if somebody looks at me and thinks that, I'm the director, how did I get there? This is truly an indication anybody can make it. It truly is an indication anybody can make it if you work hard enough, if you believe in yourself, and you don't lose hope.
What is the significance of Miami-Dade College, the Miami Dolphins, Noble, all of these police departments, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Broward County Public Schools, all coming together around a common theme of improving police and youth relations?
They understand the significance of the tension that exists between, authority and non-authority, between the youth and the police. They understand that it's something that's very important to our community and our nation. And they also understand that they can have some impact on making it a positive thing. So when the Dolphins or, Miami-Dade Chiefs of Police or Miami-Dade College or even the educational system and the religious systems come together for a purpose, we can be a mighty, formidable force. So I think that's what we're saying when private industry, public industry, government, and religion come together for a purpose to try and save our youngsters. That's what this is all about. It's about saving our youngsters so our youngsters realize how important they are to us, and not only to us, but actually to themselves as well. And they get some real positive messages that are sort of like, again, put in them to where they sort of like, I think the word is inculcated. It just gets to be a part of who they are. And once it's a part of who they are, they can do great things and make a big difference in the next generation's life. So I think all our partners recognize that and want to do their best to help us achieve that goal through this organization.
What do you see for the future of the program?
Well, I never could see where we are now, so I can't really see nothing beyond what my dreams are. And I guess my dream would be that every boy in America had the opportunity to experience what the boys in the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence experience. And if I could just sell this nation on the idea that it is better to invest in prevention when children are small and nurture them and help them grow. If I can just get that message across to America, we have a magical answer. Watch the boys in the 5,000 Role Models. And I am so proud to be associated with these little boys, these adolescent boys, these big boys, these grown men, their parents, their family, our partners in the community, and all of the people who support the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence. We love them, we appreciate them, and I speak on behalf of these young boys. They need you. They need you, and they appreciate everything that you give them.
Incredible examples of the tremendous impact that this program has made. The late Aretha Franklin sang about the need for a bridge over troubled water. And this program has certainly been a bridge over troubled water for so many young men in this community, in this country. Congresswoman, thank you for your time, thank you for your service, and thank you for founding the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We hope that you get involved with the 5,000 Role Models and on having a positive impact on generations of students in Miami-Dade County and throughout the nation. Until next time.